Welcome back. Now we're joined by Dr. Dennis Ekemezie. He's the Emeritus Vice President and the Vice Chairman, Governing Council of Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. Still talking on the Anambra State Guba elections held on Saturday, November 8th, 2025. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Now, Anambra just concluded its governorship election. I'd like to know, what do you think about this election and everything that has stemmed since Friday?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please tell us what you think about the election that happened on Saturday.
The election has come and gone as the first of the off-cycle election which Anambra started, and being the light of the nation, Saturday, 8th of November 2025, the election was successful and fruitful because it has produced a governor-elect or re-elected the governor of Apuga, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. And also, it was the first election to be conducted by the INEC chairman, new chairman of INEC, and we have to say kudos to him. And importantly also, the security management of the election was superb, the first of its kind. I must also commend the effort of the security agents who did it, their job professionally and patriotic. They were patriotic, and I must say that the civil security relationship was so cordial that no incidents of harassment or intimidation. And I have to congratulate the people of Anambra that went to the poll and were able to produce the governor-elect in the name of the Professor Chukwuma Soludo under the banner of APGA.
Now, Dr. Ekemezie, if you were to compare the election on Saturday and the previous elections in Anambra, what would it be?
Well, it's crystal clear that there's this mark of departure from the past. One, election can never be perfect, even in other developed countries. There's a reduced incidence of violence. There's a reduced incidence of intimidation. And there's this reduced incidence of inclusiveness. In fact, the totality of the electorate and then the voters were all involved. And more so, it's significant because, people were doubting whether there would be low turnout of people because of what happened in the past in 2023 general election. But I must tell you that I'm overwhelmed with the number of people, the voters that came out. It was tremendous. In fact, if you evaluate it, it will be double the number of people that came out to elect the governor in 2021. So I think there's an improvement also. And for instance, what the commissioner of police that stood in for the election said that he was impressed with the turnout of the people. And so many people are saying it. And then also, we will also look at the number of political parties that participated, 16 in number, and all of them produced candidates. Also, equally, gender was involved. Women were given opportunity to have their candidate. Generally speaking, it is a much desired election that came out fruitful, that produced the governor, where everybody is involved. Low turnout of voters is no more there. However, we noticed the incidence of vote buying, which I normally call mercantile politics. And is read is said, although with time, I think it will be curtailed.
Welcome back. Now, Dr. Ekemezie, if you can hear me, we apologize for that disconnection, but I asked of your opinion on if Apuga's dominance in Anambra is due to performance or a weak opposition. Please continue from where you stopped.
Yes, I said it could be all inclusive, in the sense that the APGA has consolidated, as I said, for the past 19 years or so, or going to 20 years. APGA has been in power from P2B to Obiano and now to Soludo. And then the manifesto of APGA also serves itself in the sense that it continue to touch the life of the people in terms of the area of education, in the area of social welfare, provision of hospital facilities, medical facilities for the people, and then in terms of rural infrastructure development, especially through the local government administration. More importantly, the personality of Professor Charles Soludo, you will recall that is a seasoned economist, and as a person, he has worked as a central bank governor for Nigeria and consultant to many international organizations. So it also brings to bear that which will help the people to assess his ability and capacity and capability to be governor of Anambra State. Also, we look at the opposition parties. Yes, noise were made, but in assessment, you will see that the opposition party couldn't command the will of the people, because it was being expected that some of the opposition parties will rise up to the expectation of the people to oppose the ruling party. But the result of the election shows that they are still weak and they are still in incubation period to untopple the Soludo administration. I think that's the three or four areas we will assess the rise to power of Governor Soludo, and then consolidation of APGA as a party in the Anambra State.
Right, but now we're seeing that other parties like APC, PDP, and the likes are rejecting the results of this election, you know, and there seems to be a bit of a disagreement as to the final result. So what is your response to that?
Well, in a developed country, I think that is always the case. However, most of their contention is that this issue of vote buying. From what we saw in the field, most of them bought votes. However, it looks like what one of the judgments in the past, Ono versus Ono, where the judgment was that both of them rigged, but the one that rigged each other. So all of them offered money or items or inducement of the voters. Is the maybe, as they normally say, went to the highest bidder. I think that could be the situation. So for me, it is their constitutional right. They have the right. They have the constitutional right, even the electoral act, to express their displeasure and then take on any further action. It's never for the Christmas. It's never a cup of tea. You have to demand for your right. Mandate is not dashed. It's not given. You have to work for it and then snatch it. If I borrow the word of one of our leaders.
Now, but most of the controversy surrounding this election is majorly about this issue of vote buying, which you just spoke about now. Is there a possibility of this issue being curbed in our country and in our electoral systems, where parties don't have to disagree with results due to issues and irregularities like vote buying?
Well, it will be better said and done. However, if the umpire, INEC and security agents start persecuting the offenders, the earlier the better, and then it will reduce the incidents. Now that is not done, well, many people will continue to do whatever they want to do in order to gain power and then in order to gain influence and then even affluence. So it's a natural situation that you use what you have to get what you need. And that is Machiavellian theory.
Okay, now
the ends justify the means.
Now that Soludo has emerged the winner, what area of governance do you think that the people are expecting him to prioritize?
Well, let him consolidate on his track record. One, expansion of rural infrastructure, creation of job opportunities for the young ones, for the youths, and then a provision of security for life and property of the people, which is very paramount. And then let him also engage in the industrial development, bringing back our industrialists and our, what do I call it, agriculturalists, improve agriculture, provide seedlings for the farmers, and then provide enabling environment, which I said earlier, security, and even loans and grants for the farmers and new entrepreneurs, which he said under his one youth, two skill. Let him improve it so that he will be one youth, more skills, multiple skills. Because in terms of ICT, in terms of a mechanic apprentice could also be good in ICT. So that they will not use what they say in the local palace. They will use their computer to know what is wrong in their engine and the vehicles they want to work. So let one youth, two skill be increased to one youth, multiple skills.
Now, generally, you've spoken about INEC's performance, and you said that they generally did well. But I would like you to highlight some of the lapses or some of the areas that you feel that INEC fell short of during this particular election, and how they can improve on it for subsequent elections.
Yes, I commended them because of their attitude, the civility exhibited by these young Nigerians, the youth corpers. I need to say it because it's part of the political culture. If you want to study electoral process, their attitude and behavior this time is exceptional. Even the security agents, as I said. However, the beavers, although there's an improvement as compared against 2023, there's improvement. If there's hitch in some of the areas I observed, they quickly alert their technicians to come, and within some minutes, the beavers are repaired or brought back to life. I think at times network issue also affect beavers. That in some areas it will take about between 1 to 5 minutes or so to capture images. And then those people that could not be captured as earlier would be put on standby, and then after they will do their own. And the issue of also management of electoral process, the voting process, we are done within the specification. The cubicle placed in the right direction, and the ballot boxes placed in better position. I haven't seen somebody that was intimidated or harassed, and that's where I said we needed to commend the young ECOPAS, the young Nigerians, and also the security personnel that were helped in providing security. There was no interference in some areas I visited, and they did their job according to the rule, and then they were allowed to do their jobs. And also there's this issue of community participation, because in some areas I saw community members of the community bringing seats for the elderly ones and for them to sit down, and that's another area we need to touch, that the elderly ones, the pregnant women, and then disabled people were given opportunity to cast their vote first before others. I think also is a part of that political culture we need to emulate and encourage also. I think we need to commend these young Nigerians, the young coppers, and the security agents. The media also, because the media, I saw many of them moving around and then granting interviews, and their publications is wonderful. I think we need to also commend the media. You people, I need also to commend you people.
Okay, now beyond Anambra election, and being that it has happened in the southeast, from the results so far, where do you think that this election has put Anambra when it comes to Nigeria politics, and looking at 2027 in view? What would you say is the ripple effect when it comes to 2027?
Well, I still recall it's an off-cycle election which Anambra started. And we looked forward that this will signpost a new political culture. We also noted that it will be a litmus test for the new chairman on seat. And for him now, I think he'll be jubilating that he's done it. And Anambra has given him opportunity. Of course, you know, Anambra is first. It's always said that Anambra is the light of the nation, and we are leading showing the light for people to emulate. I think that's part of it. And in terms of realignment or alignment, well, we leave it to political parties to manage, and then the governor to take his own decision. I'm not going to take forecast that, and it's left for him to know where alignment and realignment will be. Of course, we know that the governor-elect said that he is part of the progressives, that the progressives joined together in this affair of election, and then maybe 2027. Maybe the progressive will continue to work together, as he earlier indicated, or as he earlier postulated, that progressives are working together. I think he pronounced it and not myself.
Okay, so if you look at that election on Saturday, how would you say that it reflects, a larger picture of Nigeria's democracy?
That is a wonderful question. Yes, the imagining democracy in Nigeria, of which we know that is 25 years of uninterrupted democracy. And then Anambra has given it a new ethos, a limp forward for other Edo, Bayelsa, I think Kogi, Ondo to emulate. So Anambra has shown them the light as the light of the nation. Let them follow it. Because when you see the light, there's no need to grumbling in the darkness as was in the past. So that's what Anambra was able to do. And that's what in the Anambra are saying. Follow us, and then you reach the promised land. Of course, you know that you must seek the political kingdom first, so that other things will add it to you. And that's what in the Anambra have done by conducting themselves in a patriotic manner to deliver this baby, or this man now, because democracy of 25 years, he's a man now, but delivering this man or woman to move on as an adult.
Now, as more off-cycle elections approach, in other states as well, what lessons would you say that INEC, political parties, and voters as well should take from this Anambra election, from this experience? What can be taken out of it and applied to other off-cycle elections?
Well, the emerged new political culture in Anambra State needs to be sustained by the other states that will be engaged or involved in this off-cycle election. One, the citizenry or the electorates there must conduct themselves within the ambits of the law, especially the Electoral Act. And then also, they also need to do more on mobilization of the citizens, of the electorates, so that they will control or minimize the incidences of voter apathy. Of course, also is a lesson to the security agents and the electoral umpire, INEC, to know how to control this incidence of vote buying. So let them also fashion out a mechanism how to checkmate the incidence of vote buying. In other area, they need also to do improvement is the issue of beavers that at times it delays due to what they call network challenges. Maybe they put more technicians to more technical efforts to study it and know what to do before the 2027 elections. That is the advantage of having this off-cycle election, because it gives INEC, especially the new chairman, to be able to do what? To navigate and then be able to assess the situation on the ground and be able to come up with new strategies on how to improve the electoral process and the electoral culture, the political culture. I think the tax is on, and with his experience and wisdom, I think he will succeed. Having seen what Anambra has giving him kudos, and then having seen that Anambra meant well for him, I think he needs also to consolidate the gains, and then be able to also to assess, because there are reports are trickling in, be able to evaluate the reports that are coming in, and then be able to offer and proffer solutions for other elections, be it off-cycle or 2027 general election.
Okay, now before we go, let's take a look at Nigeria politics. Now, do you think that state level politics in Nigeria is progressing or maturing, or do you think that it is still dominated by godfatherism, saying that some people will say that there have been somewhat of influence on the opposition parties, and the fact that they did not even, make much competition or manifestos or campaign during the time of the election in Anambra State?
Well, I needed to disagree with you on issue of campaigning because, as I said in one of my programs with you people, I said that time we are looking that the campaign has not started. I said that at the heat of it, you will see a enormous campaign, and that was what happened towards the tail end of a campaign period. Many people, many stakeholders and structure owners were deeply involved in mobilization process and then conscientization process by the media and civil society organizations. The bottom line is that all hands must be on deck to be able to promote this democracy that has attained adulthood, because having been 25 years needs also to grow and then mature. Let me say that is an evolving democratic process. It involves. It is not. It shouldn't be something that way revolutionary. No, it has to evolve, and it's evolving with its defects, with its impact, with its other components that will make it mature. I think wine mature by age. I think that's what democracy in our developing nation, Nigeria, is trying to do. And Anambra has shown it by the large turnout of people, and then by a fairly violence-free election. Then the other one is the credibility. That is acceptability by the people. Well, it's true that some have indicated indication that they will challenge the result of the election. It is their constitutional right, and they need to do it. That would also put more pressure for democracy in Nigeria to mature.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Dennis Ekemezie. Thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for your invitation. I'm very happy being with you again.
Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you as well. And it's a pleasure to have you join us on the show this morning. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll still be bringing you updates on the Anambra elections as events unfold. And don't go anywhere, as we'll be leaving you with an interview from our Abuja studios. Until next time, I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha.
I am Lilian Wali.